Hey, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Some more. It's Politics with Laura here. Oh my goodness. We are at WAR. We are at WAR. We are. And make sure this is working. Make sure this is working. Okay, yeah, that's working right there. I'm live streaming on YouTube and Rumble, both places. Politics with Laura on Rumble. Please hit a like and subscribe. I'm trying to build my my platform. I'm slowly moving over to Rumble. You know, this platform, I love it, but too many issues. Too many. Let me see. Are we here now? Almost. Okay. Now, this has been leading up at... Okay, I'm sorry. This has been rolling to this point to where there was going to be another skirmish. But this is not a skirmish. This is WAR, according to what the news is stating. Now, this has everything to do with the Israel country. The Israel country saying, hey, you know, only I can have nuclear weapons. Only I can have all these weapons because we need to be safe here. All of you are after me. Now, I can't say all the countries in the Middle East are after them in the Israel country. No. There are some that are like, okay, we can work together, we can trade. You have that. You have people who are like, okay, we could work together, we could trade. However, wait a minute. The Israel country. Okay, great. Both are running great. And let's go back to the Abraham Accord. The Abraham Accord was working well to where the Israel country was doing business, becoming independent. And that's a good thing. Every country should be independent. But however, one side was like, but I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. But let's get into some of the stuff. Now on, oh my goodness, this stuff is moving fast. This is moving fast. Also follow me on Twitter. Now I'm getting this information from the Benny Johnson on goodness where, and here, let's take a listen.
Fox News has learned from a senior Israeli security official. Israel assesses that more than 40 senior Iranian security and regime figures were killed in strikes during the opening operation that Israel launched this morning with the United States against the Iranian regime. This official goes on to say this is one of the largest regime decapitation operations conducted in modern warfare history, and that Israeli intelligence managed to infiltrate the Iranian security echelon, making the strikes possible, this official explained. But again, this news just coming into us, we were able to confirm it, that a senior Israeli official telling Fox News more than 40 senior Iranian security and regime figures were killed in the opening strike this morning. And John and Sandra, as you can hear on our phones here, and we're going to stay here. Our security is giving me the nod to stay here. Tel Aviv is under a significant attack right now. And again, this news breaking that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, has been killed. We are now reporting exclusively that 40 senior regime figures were also killed in these strikes. The Iranians are going to try to target as much of Israel as possible, and that's exactly what is happening right now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Now, my thought is this. My thought is exactly this right here. Okay. This is scary. It really is, because I live in a DMV area. So when they start coming over here, shooting over here, it's going to be where I'm at. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. Now that this has kicked off, what I'm concerned with is, okay, any loss of life to me is too much. Too much. But when this, I have a feeling that Turkey is next. Turkey is a NATO member. Now, you cannot fight NATO members. Only if one country hits a NATO member, then all countries jump in. So if all countries jump in, then we'll be fighting amongst ourselves due to what happened over there in the Middle East between Iran and the Israel country. I believe, and this is simply my belief, that is it, just me and only me. Maybe other people are saying this, I'm not sure, but however, this could be the end of NATO. It really could be if we fight amongst ourselves through this proxy war, W-A-R, I'm sorry, through this proxy W.A.R, the algorithms. So, let's go back to Twitter, because he has a lot there. He has a whole lot. Where am I at? Okay. All right, here. This right here was taken 4 hours ago, and this right here is the Ayatollah that they were speaking of. Now look at this. That was a drone that happened 7 hours ago. I am at 8:01 Eastern Standard Time. I gotta be careful of the sounds because they're gonna dab me for everything. Okay. Let me see. This was
photos as mere rubble. It's not clear whether the Ayatollah was there. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi spoke to NBC.
Now that already has been confirmed. Israel confirmed that the Ayatollah has been eliminated
Moments ago, and was asked to confirm whether the Ayatollah and the Iranian president are still alive.
As far as I know, yes, they are alive. And the head of judiciary as well, the head of the Speaker of Parliament as well, all high-ranking officials are alive. And the secretary of the National Security Council. So everybody is now in its position, and we are handling this situation, and everything is fine.
There were hundreds Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's
All right.
compound,
Now,
which can be
the previous news that came out stating that he was eliminated. Now, this was 8 hours ago. Right here. That was I did not mean to do that. 8 hours ago. Oh my goodness. Now this right here, it says it's the tallest skyscraper.
La grúa está en el edificio. No veo nada yo. ¿Dónde está el avioncito? Ya se fue. Ahí está. Ahí se vio. Ahí se vio. Mira el humo. ¿A dónde? Mirá, dale, parate, dale, boludo. Qué locura, amigo.
Oh my goodness. That right there is horrifying. It is horrifying. Now this right here really got me. Okay, I gotta be careful with this. Now just take a look. Look at that. Oh my goodness. And I gotta be careful with the noise. Certain sounds set off the algorithm, and I don't need any problems from all right, so here this is 9 hours ago. Let's listen to what the Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, I know I'm messing up the name, please forgive me. This is
است و هدف آن جمهوری اسلامی دستگاه سرکوب و ماشین کشتار آن است، نه کشور و ملت بزرگ ایران. اما با وجود رسیدن این کمک، پیروزی نهایی همچنان به دست ما رقم خواهد خورد. این ما ملت ایران هستیم که در این آخرین نبرد کار را تمام خواهیم کرد. زمان بازگشت به خیابانها نزدیک است. اکنون که جمهوری اسلامی در حال فروپاشی است، پیام من به نیروهای نظامی، انتظامی و امنیتی کشور روشن است. شما سوگند خورده اید حافظ ایران و ملت ایران باشید، نه حافظ جمهوری اسلامی و سرکردگانش. وظیفه شما دفاع از مردم است، نه دفاع از رژیمی که با سرکوب و جنایت میهن ما را به گروگان گرفته است. به ملت بپیوندید و به یک گذار باثبات و امن کمک کنید. در غیر این صورت با کشتی در هم شکسته خامنه‌ای و رژیمش غرق خواهید شد. و پیام من به رئیس جمهور ایالات متحده پرزیدنت ترامپ این است: ملت شریف ایران با وجود سرکوب و کشتار وحشیانه این رژیم نزدیک به 2 ماه با دلاوری ایستادگی کرد. اینک از شما می‌خواهم بیشترین احتیاط ممکن را برای حفظ جان غیر نظامیان و هممیهنانم به کار ببرید. مردم ایران متحدان طبیعی شما و جهان آزادند و یاری شما در سخت‌ترین دوره تاریخ معاصر ایران را فراموش نخواهند کرد. و به شما هممیهنان عزیزم در ایران، در این ساعتها و روزهای حساس بیش از هر زمان دیگر باید بر هدف نهایی خود متمرکز بمانیم: باز پس گرفتن ایران. من از شما می‌خواهم که در حال حاضر در خانه‌های خود بمانید و آرامش و امنیت خود را حفظ کنید. هوشیار و آماده باشید تا در زمان مناسب که به طور دقیق به اطلاع شما خواهم رساند برای اقدام نهایی به خیابانها بازگردید. پیام‌های من را از طریق شبکه‌های اجتماعی و رسانه‌های ماهواره‌ای دنبال کنید. اگر در اینترنت و ماهواره اختلال ایجاد شد، از طریق امواج رادیویی با شما در تماس خواهم بود. ما به پیروزی نهایی بسیار نزدیکیم. میخواهم هرچه زودتر در کنار شما باشم تا با هم ایران را پس بگیریم و دوباره بسازیم. پاینده ایران.
Okay. For me, this is really concerning because, okay, first he's telling the people to stay inside, get off the streets. There's bombing going on. I don't know how people are going to stay calm. I know that people say stay calm, stay in one place, but when you have that going on, I don't see how people are not going to jump in their cars to flee. I don't know. I just don't see how that right there is not going to happen. However, I don't know. So something about this right here looks really, really strict because the Crown Prince, he gave this. Okay, wait a minute. The Crown Prince just gave that he has been exiled from Iran, and it don't. Oh my! It makes. Dare I ask the question? Dare I ask this? Is this a collaboration between the Israel country and him to install him back? But I don't know if that would benefit Israel at all. I know that sounds rather unreal. I don't know, but it's something to really consider. But however, he's saying, hey, stay there and be calm, be safe, and it will be restored. This is wow. All right, I have some other things that I want to show you. Oh, okay. Now here is Iran retaliating. Stick with me. I'm sorry. Stick with me. Stick with me. Stick with me. Because Iran is retaliating, and let me put this back right here.
The
Okay.
Ayatollah's life is hanging on by a thread at this point, and this is why I spoke directly to the Iranian people that this is your time. This is your time to get your country back. You were sold maybe a bill of goods that were worthless in 1978, leading up to 79 to the overthrow of the Shah. You were a Western country that we had great relationships with. You had more women in the workforce, professional workforce, than even the American people did. You had more women elected to government offices than the American people did. We want to see the greatness of Iran again, and we're there to help you, but you've got to fight for your country. The Ayatollah's life is hanging.
Okay. Now I find this rather interesting because Iran is one of the most not modern, but they're culturally different from the other Islamic countries around them, to where women have been extremely oppressed, very oppressed and feminist. If you want something to scream about, why don't you go over there, because we don't have those issues, and go over there and you do that feminist stuff over there, and really see a damn patriarchy. That's over there, not here. But I digress from my point. However, he's saying that women are working, are in a workforce, participating in government, all the different factions within them. Whoa. Okay. Okay. Let me see if anything. Wait. Before I start scrolling all over the place, I don't want your eyes to go real fast. Is there anything new? Okay, there's no updates now on Twitter. No updates on Twitter, but I do want to show you this, because I'm just like, why is all of this happening? Okay. And where is it at? The free sponge? Where is it at? I just had it. Oh my goodness. Please not doing over live stream. The Royal US Service Institute. All right. Now let's go back a second. Let's just go back for a second. Okay, so that we can refresh our memories. Where's it at? Okay, here it is. Okay, last year. Remember last year in July when there was all the missiles going, excuse me, by Israel, the Israel and the Iran were going back and forth. Now, remember, the Israel country had this bubble. It had a bubble that was supposed to protect the Israel country, but Iran sent so many missiles over that it, broke the bubble, the dome, whatever you want to call it. So it did not work the way it was supposed to. Now, let's keep this in mind. Now, this right here was back in July 7th, 2025, and here. Okay, this was the 12-day W.A.R algorithm between the Israel and Israel had the Iran and the Israel country potentially inflame the region to stretch into a prolonged conflict, but each party carried strategic concerns that necessarily drove the sensation, of open warfare. Now, this was last year. This was like 7 months ago. 7 months ago. Man, there's a lot going on here in the DMV area. Okay, when the June, this must have been translated. When the June 2025 WAR ended, it was the peak of the conflict between the Israel and Iran. Now, until 1979, the two states had mutually benefited relationships from following the Islamic Revolution, and this country has existed between them. So the Iran has seen Israel as its nemesis, and the Iranian people, or the Iranian supreme leader Ali Khamenei, and many Iranian top officials did not recognize the Israel right to exist. But the conflict has been a top of concern for the Israel, which has been especially worried by the Iranian nuclear project. Over the years, the Israel had attempted to slow Iran's nuclear program before it could produce a nuclear weapon by employing covert tactics such as cyber attacks, assassinations of Iranian nuclear scientists. That goes to another thing that I'm going to bring that back up on another live stream. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other Israeli leaders has been warning about the threat that Iran imposed. It eventually brought this recent confrontation. Now, General, Eyal Zamir suggested in May 2022 a strategy against Iran, and in June 2025, WAR, the chief of staff, had led the Israel's Defense Force, IDF, and the confrontation that started with the major Israeli attacks. But Israel spearhead was the Israeli Air Force, IAF, including the air defense and the Israeli intelligence community. Israel launched 2 strikes into Iran in 2024, which was not focused on the Iran nuclear program, but the Iran's advanced aircraft battery and the S-300, which were neutralized. Then the Israel sought a very short and limited round of confrontations. The June 2025 war was a bigger campaign. But here's the interesting part. Let's go back to this real quick. When they were shooting in there, I find it interesting how they launched the strikes, but was not to focus on Iran's nuclear program. Now, if they don't want them, look, if they don't want them, if you don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapons or anything like that, and when you're bombing into the country, you're bombing everything but that, that sounds very strange, and that happened last year. So if you're doing all of this bombing, but not the nuclear program, but then you're complaining about the nuclear program, you're trying to slow down the program, you're eliminating their scientists, which makes me go back to what happened in New York, the elimination of those 2 scientists in the U.S. that were eliminated, and the first thing that Benjamin Netanyahu said, "Hey, I have nothing to do with that." But that's who you... Okay, I'm going to leave it right there. All right. So they're advanced aircrafts. So, and this right here was 7 months ago. So Iran had allies and proxies across the Middle East. But Hezbollah and Hamas became much weaker after absorbing significant blows in 2024. Now, keep this in mind. Hamas was brought on by Benjamin Netanyahu. He's the one that created it. He created Hamas due to the Palestinians and try to keep them under control. And then Hamas turns around and says, wait a minute, wait. Something clicks and says, look, we're going to go against you. We're going against you and what you're doing and your okay. So then they do a 360 and say, okay, we have problems with you, but that right there still was became something due to Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, so we got to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Oh, okay. So Hamas became much weaker, but those groups were not involved in the more recent confrontation between Israel and Iran. The pro-Iranian group in Iraq also called out the war. Only the Houthis continue the confrontation on Israel, but it is in a very limited way. The combination between the decline of Iran's partners and the weakness of Iran's air force gave Israel a rare opportunity to strike at the same time. Now, 7 months ago, we're going to bring this up to today, but we got to, remind ourselves of what was going on. At the same time, Iran was closer than ever to producing a nuclear weapon. Israel was concerned that it might be at its last chance to stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon. Now, if your last, okay. This right here is really beyond comprehension. Now, if you are trying to stop, Iran from having a nuclear weapon, but you bomb every place but there, and then you're still saying, hey, I don't want you to have it, but you're not getting rid of it. That makes absolutely no sense to me. So to me, only me, just me, I believe that there's more to it than what's being said. Way more to what. That's just my thought. I can't prove anything that I'm saying. It's only a belief based on what they're doing. That makes zero sense. Zero. But that's just me. But however, the Israeli public is exhausted after almost 2 years of war. They would have stood firm as long as the people believed the losses and damages were absorbed worth the outcome of the confrontation with Iran. Now, was it worth it? You got your bubble no longer exists. That right there is gone. But Israel managed to convince the American patron to allow Israel to hit Iran hard. And all of this, understand this, Israel would not be doing this if it weren't for the fact that the United States is backing Israel. Now, do we bring up Jeffrey Epstein in this mess? Because if it weren't for him, I believe a lot of the politicians wouldn't even do a thing. They would say, look, Benny Ben, this is your mess. You started this stuff. You keep on provoking these people. They're doing nothing. And you keep on inching and inching and inching and inching. You know what I mean? And you were given this, but you don't want this. You want this. So you got a lot of things going on that's in the midst of all of this. There is a lot, but if it weren't for the United States, this would not be an issue. There would be they would find a way to work with each other, even though that they may not like each other. Now, you are able to coexist. It happens all the time. You can coexist without eliminating each other as long as there happens to be mutual respect. And that's the problem. There is no mutual respect. Now, some of you are going to say, oh, well, those Israelis, they're terrible people. You say, oh, well, those Muslims or Arabs are terrible people. Push that to the side. Push it to the side. But let me go ahead and finish this article because that was, 7 months ago? 8 months ago, somewhere around there. So the U.S. had provided Israeli with highly valuable military and political support during the campaign, and then after more than a week, the battle between Israel and Iran, the Trump administration bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites, and the United States said states had to take into account various constraints. On several levels, like the cost of the war and the need to save ammunition for possible fights with Russian waters and the Red Dragon country. And that right there is very true because the Russian waters already said, hey, if you mess with Iran, you mess with us. So, and they're backing Iran for the simple reason is that they are very religious people. They are religious people. Now, do they have their problems? Yes, they do. They have their problems, but Putin said, leave them alone. They did nothing to you besides be there before you got there, right? Okay, okay, and to deal with the domestic opposition to the U.S. participating in the war, including inside the Trump administration. No wonder the United States had sought to quickly, excuse me, manage and other to end to the confrontation. Israel and Iran had a good reason to avoid a long war, most definitely, because it costs us. The United States has to pay for that. We got to pay for Israel. We got to pay for them. We got to pay for everything. Everything that Israel has comes from the United States. And we want them to be independent. We want them to be independent. We want them to be independent. And they're not. We taxpayers have to pay it. We pay like what, give them $3 billion a year and everything else what they need. Oh my God, we can't afford it. We can't afford what we got. All right, I'm done. Okay, Israel always tries to run short wars for several basic reasons. But this right here, Israel always tries to run a short war for several basic reasons. You don't need to be running no short wars. You just need to stop. That right there's my personal opinion. But here, including the economic ones, Israel's economy is trying to recover from the long and highly costly war in the Gaza. I think right there is, that word is more of a trigger, the algorithm, than me saying Israel, so forgive me. Which cost Israel $67 billion in June 2027. No, it cost us $67 billion. It didn't cost them nothing. It cost us $67 billion, which we cannot afford because we are $37 trillion in debt. We got to pay these back. And then the worst part about it is that we're in debt to the Red Dragon country. And look. Check this out. Okay. Let me put it like this. Because if anything goes wrong on YT, I could say it on Rumble, and then I'll be okay. If this goes down, I got Rumble. All right, look. Sometimes we have friends who starts trouble, right? And not only do they start trouble physically, but also financially. And you keep on saying, here, go ahead, just stop doing that dumb stuff. Still backing them, giving them money, giving them money, giving them money. And then they run out there and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then you keep on funding them until they drag you into it because they do something and the person responds back happens to be an overkill, right? They do an overkill on what your friend did. And they're like, oh my goodness, they did all this to me. Well, that's what's going on over there right now. You got several things going on, and it's getting crazier and crazier, bigger and bigger. All right. Okay, here. And Israel tries to adjust the economy according to the restraints of the confrontation. Yet Israel needed to end the war with Iran soon, or else the economy might face major crisis. Yeah, the U.S. economy is going to face major crisis. But Israel has grown used to state emergency certainly since October 7th, 2023, when Hamas and Hezbollah confronted Israel, and those groups received aid from Iran so they can fight Israel. Well, isn't that what people do? They're not in it. It's like the U.S. really isn't in it, but they give Israel the stuff what they need. So now they're like, oh my goodness, you help them. Well, I'm going after you because you helped them. This is never going to end. So June 27th, the war was directly between Israel and Iran, and the Israeli public is exhausted after almost 2 years of war when, they have had stood firm as long as the people believed the losses and the damage they absorbed worth the outcome of the confrontation with Iran. If Israel had officially insisted its goal in toppling the Iranian regime, it would have been a tall order, and the Iranian regime might have been strong enough to survive, and eventually then Israel public would have therefore felt they are losing in that sense. And the same would have happened if the Israeli public were convinced that Israel can quickly defeat Iran. So as long as they're saying, hey, we can do this, keep it up. But if we can't do it economically, we're going to lose. Let's stop. Well, that is what's really, really happening. But this news came in 2 hours ago. Okay, I just see some news. Some news came in 2 hours ago. Let me bring this up. Okay, here it's official. This is from the Washington Post. Let me see if I can play this.
The United States military began major combat operations in Iran. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or in the alternative, face certain death.
اضرب 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 كانهم بس اخاف اجيني على الراس وياهم يا شباب انا جاي اراويكم.
Oh man. my goodness.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay, okay, okay. All right, all right, all right.
Oh my goodness. Just look at that. What happened to it?
My administration and or in the alternative face certain death.
Oh my goodness. That right there is frightening, just to see that and see the explosion going, and as you're going that way, you see it coming towards you. Oh my man, okay. All right, that right there was just 2 hours ago. Let me see. Oh, this is just 10 minutes ago. Okay, wait a minute. Breaking news. Double breaking news. Let me bring this up. Okay, is that it? I think this is it. Oh yeah. Okay, this just came out 10 minutes ago. It's 8:32 and it's 8:36. Okay, 6 minutes ago. Okay, so we got a hot off the press. So here it says a live update. Trump says Iranian, was Ali Khamenei is dead. Let's see what.
So vote to restrict his war powers next week. But really, Tom, with Republicans so far largely in lockstep with the president today, those votes aren't likely to go very far or do much other than to give lawmakers a chance to get their opposition on the record. But here, that's what's happening in Washington. Across the world, this news that the Ayatollah is confirmed dead raises a lot of questions about how long this conflict drags on for, how long and how much American troops get dragged into this war. Certainly, we will be looking for any White House reaction in the next couple of hours. But again, the president had said it earlier today, and now we're getting that official confirmation from the Iranians. Hugely significant.
Okay, Gabe Gutierrez, stand by for us still at the White House. I do want to bring in Michael Froman. He's the president of the Council on Foreign Relations. Michael, thanks for joining our special broadcast. As you just heard us report here, Iranian state media now confirming the Ayatollah has been killed. Talk to us about who you think is in charge right now in Iran. Is it the president, Pezeshkian? Is he now the leader? And cannot be checked by anyone else? Or is there some kind of theocratic leader? Is there another cleric that will take over?
Well, first of all, Tom, I think there's just a lot of uncertainty right now, exactly what's happening on the ground.
Keep in mind, I just read the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince wants to come back to Iran. Well, it's his land, right? So when this happens, does he come back? Does he come back to rule? That's going to be interesting to watch.
You mentioned the president, who evidently is alive and is still there, but there's also Larijani, who's the national security head and who has really been the power behind the throne and the Ayatollah's number 2 for some time. And so whether he's a transitional figure until something further happens remains to be seen. He's not a cleric, so he can't be really a successor in the form of an Ayatollah. But we have to see how that plays out. And I think that's the real question: is what happens now that senior leaders have been killed. Will people rise up? How will the various dynamics within Iran, including the role of ethnic minorities there, the Azeris, the Kurds, Arabs, and others, how will that play out? And ultimately, what does that mean for the future leadership of Iran?
The UN has already discussed this. Countries like China have come out and condemned the attack by the U.S. and by Israel on Iran. What do you think the role of both the UN is and other major nations across the world now that Iran is, it may descend into chaos? It's unclear. I mean, this is all still fresh. We'll see what happens. But a regional war is underway, or at least a conflict right now.
Well, look, on one hand, I think with the exception of China, Russia, maybe North Korea, very few countries are going to cry tears for the loss of this regime. It's been an evil regime that has wreaked havoc across the region and sponsored terrorism and challenged U.S. interests and interests of Western countries and Gulf countries for some time. On the other hand,
I want you to hear something. He called it an evil regime and it interrupted U.S. interest. Now, they're not, look, the U.S. is not going to have any other country or better yet, any other government trying to interrupt what we're doing. And then we're going to call them evil for doing it. Just keep up with that. Just keep up with that.
There is clearly some discomfort with the fact that the U.S. did it unilaterally with Israel, and the other countries are sort of wrestling with that. I think there's a lot of cynicism, frankly, particularly in the region, with countries in the region perhaps saying they're uncomfortable with it, but privately being quite gratified that there will potentially be an opportunity for a new Iran. This leadership had been in place, effectively for 47 years, and there hasn't really. It was unclear. It was uncertain that there would ever be a real change in Iran's fundamental strategy towards the region, towards Israel, towards U.S. interests, until there was a change.
Michael, explain that to our viewers, right? Because people watching this right now may wonder, Iran, how has Iran attacked the United States? And in many ways they have, right? Through terrorism, through building drones that wanted to kill U.S. soldiers, through funneling money to Hamas that ended up killing Israelis as well and committing terrorism all across the world. Iran's fingerprints are over all of that evil.
Okay, hold on. Go back to the 1980s when the first Gulf War occurred. Go back to that. Matter of fact, as I'm going to let this play, I'm going to find that. George Bush, Daddy Bush, went into the first Gulf War and destabilized that area. Now, we cannot just simply overlook that and say, oh, well, that's okay. No, they never forgot that. They did not want the U.S. in that area. They didn't want it. They didn't want capitalism in that area. They didn't want that. And, oh man, let me see. Okay, I'm going to leave England out of it because England, France, and Germany has a lot to do with that area over there. And there'll be another video. But let him continue saying what he was saying.
It was going to change under its own regard. Having said that, the U.S. taking action by itself without congressional authorization, with allies uncomfortable, that's going to be the debate for the next several weeks, I imagine.
Michael Froman from the...
Well, President Trump can start a war for 3 months without congressional approval. But at some point, he's going to have to get congressional approval. Now, I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to say this again, I'm pretty sure that they're going to do it because there are people that are behind the scenes that Jeffrey Epstein was completely blackmailing our government. They got them in compromising positions. Yes, they do. That right there is most definitely true. But however, I'm going to go back to what he was saying. Trump at some point needs congressional approval. Will he get it? I believe he will. But let him finish.
Military or any other military action. And this is one of the ways that the U.S. and the Israelis in this case could inspire regime change in Iran. Now, we still do believe that the Israeli military, the IDF, is the one who was more focused on the strikes against the leadership, including the one against the Ayatollah here, and others. We are still...
Okay. This is what bothers me. Why does Iran need a regime change? That is a sovereign country. Me saying that, you may have groups of people say, hey, Politics with Laura, how dare you even question what Trump is doing? No, I'm questioning what all the other presidents have done. Why does the U.S. need a regime change? Why do these people who vote the people that they want in to serve them, why does the U.S. and Israel have to step in and say, look, we don't want you, we don't like you, so we want you to be in to run that country and to serve our interests, not your people. Forget about your people. Go ahead and give them 2 middle fingers. You are going to serve our interests at the behest, not a behest, wrong word, but at the detriment to your own people. That's what's being said. That's what's being done. And that has happened over and over and over again. And that right there is going to put us, the U.S., I'm not even talking about the Israel country. I'm not even talking about them. Because if we fall, they're screwed. Big time. Okay? Big time, because all the things that has happened, that Benjamin Netanyahu said, oh, well, Iraq is a problem. Oh, my goodness, they're after us. Oh, Yemen's a problem. Oh, well, I don't know if Yemen's was a problem. Afghanistan's a problem. They're after us. Everybody, he said, we went after and totally no good is going to come of this. No good. But let him finish.
And things in Lebanon, at times they have shown the ability to really plan for months and years to make some of these missions actually happen. So that part doesn't surprise me. You know, one thing that I have been shocked about and not been able to figure out all day since we first got the call at 1 o'clock this morning that this had all started is why the U.S. and Israel decided to conduct these strikes and begin this mission in daylight. That's really uncommon. You know, midnight hammer, the back and forth volley between Israel and Iran in 2024 and into 2025, and then the Venezuela, the raid to interdict Maduro. All of those have taken place at night, and there's a reason for that. It's frankly just safer for the air assets and for the men and women who are involved. This was in daylight. And I do wonder if maybe that was part of the intelligence gathering process here. They found that some of these individuals would be together at a certain time. It was in daylight, and they had to take advantage of that opportunity. I mean, candidly, Tom, that's the only thing that makes sense for the timing of the strikes.
It stands to reason. I thought the exact same thing, especially when we're seeing the videos as well, and a lot of them were during the daytime. Courtney, so great to have you. Stand by for us. I do want to bring in someone else, Iranian-American journalist and NBC News analyst, Houman Majd. Houman, so great to see you. For our viewers at home who may not know you, for anyone at NBC News who does anything with Iran, reporting any major interview that we do, we start with Houman because he's such an expert and he has covered the region so extensively over the decades. Houman, your reaction first when you see the banner and you look down and it says Iranian state media, Ayatollah Khamenei is dead. What do you think?
It's huge. I mean, for the Iranian people who have lived with him as a supreme leader now for, almost 4 decades, it's just unimaginable for many Iranians. I think there are some Iranians, perhaps many Iranians, who are celebrating the fact that he is no longer the supreme leader, especially after the January protests and the crackdown on the protests, which was commanded from the supreme leader. And then there are others, potentially some religious people who followed him, both in Iran, Shia faithful in Iran, but also in Iraq and in Bahrain and places like that, who may be saddened by the fact that an Ayatollah, after all, a cleric, the equivalent of a cardinal in the Catholic Church, has been assassinated, essentially. So there's within Iran, I would say most people are looking forward to the next phase. What happens next? And it's not clear yet what happens next. As Courtney has pointed out, as people have pointed out throughout the day on NBC, we really don't know. The constitution in Iran allows for a leadership change. Supposedly, if this was happening not in wartime, there would be a council of 3 members, one from the Guardian Council, a cleric, one from the judiciary, the chief of the judiciary, and one from the presidency, the president himself, who would run Iran basically as the supreme leader, as a council, until the new supreme leader was elected. However, at wartime, things could be different. We still do have the Revolutionary Guards. We still have them in power. Nobody has defected yet. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of what's going to come next. Is the supreme leader going to be replaced by another supreme leader? How does that happen during wartime while there's war still going on? None of this is very clear. And people like Larijani, former IRGC general who was then for many years Speaker of Parliament. The current Speaker of Parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, also former IRGC person, extremely powerful. Those two have not been, as far as we know, targeted, and if they were targeted, have not died. Ali Shamkhani, another IRGC, a former admiral actually in the Navy, a top security official, was targeted in the 12-day war in June, but survived. The Israelis are claiming that he died in this attack. We don't know yet. So there's a lot of unknowns in terms of what's going to happen with the regime moving forward. But in terms of regime change, certainly nothing has happened yet in terms of a drastic change of the actual regime.
Yeah. And then Human, before we let you go, I do want you to paint the picture of life in Tehran right now, in Iran, because it's a place where they're having trouble even getting water, right? For people to even bathe or to drink water in Tehran, in their capital. It's a place where banks are running out of money. People can't get the money out of their banks. It's a place where gas may cost you 10 cents a gallon, but there's no job to go to right now. And yeah, less. And it's a place where, as a protester, the moment you leave your house, you enter a demonstration knowing you may either be killed or imprisoned for just stepping out of your house, right? And yet all those brave protesters showed up day after day for so many weeks because they wanted change. And so what happens to life now in Iran?
Well, I mean, right now everything's uncertain. I was able to reach some family in Tehran, and they were safe. There are a lot of people who are trying to leave Tehran. In fact, there's reports that they've changed the roads to the north of Iran to one-way roads, so all these cars could actually get out of Tehran. So right now, at this point, even despite President Trump's call for people to rise up and take over the government, no one is doing that yet. And as you pointed out, Tom, there's a lot of fear because the Revolutionary Guards, the Basij, are out on the streets, and they will put down any protests if there were any protests. And so far, we haven't seen any of that, no evidence of that yet. People are afraid. People are running for their lives. School children were just killed. That's been confirmed in a southern town by a missile. I don't think it was intentional necessarily, but there were numbers of children killed. And there's a fear, sadness. People are afraid of bombs falling on their heads in Tehran. But yes, the economy is horrible. People don't have money. People don't have enough to buy basic goods, meat, eggs, things like that. And so there's a lot of misery, and the change is going to be welcome. Change is going to be welcome.
Human, we thank you for your perspective. We thank.
Okay. Now, the Supreme Leader, you heard several people being interviewed, but let me take you back. Let me take you back to the way back time machine. Okay, let's go back for a second because I just pulled up an article, and I just want to give you an understanding of what I'm talking about. Is this it? All right. When I talked about the first Gulf War, when Daddy Bush, now this right here is in 1990, August 2nd, 1990. I remember that because, well, this is a UVA Miller Center. Okay, just stick with me. Okay, here. On August 1990, Iraqi President Saddam Hussein sent 140,000 Iraqi troops and 18,000 tanks to Kuwait. Saddam Hussein had asked the Kuwait to forgive or finance the Iraqi wartime, but debts for almost 8 years, Iran-Iraq war, which had ended. Why is this so? Okay. Ended in 1988, but the Kuwait refused to forgive the debt of 8 to 10 billion in loans. Wow, that's a lot of money. And it was opposed that Iraqi plead to increase oil allotments and to regulate OPEC. So there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes between those two fighting, then Kuwait and Kuwait giving money and all this other stuff. So indeed, the oil was the driving force behind the invasion and would lead to the U.S. military involvement. The fundamental U.S. interest in the security of the Persian Gulf oil, Paul Wolfowitz, remember that name? Under Secretary Defense for Policy in the George H.W. Bush administration, told the Defense Secretary Dick Cheney the administration estimated that after the invading Kuwait, Hussein was in control of 20% of the world's oil reserve. No, we can't have that. So then you have, oh man, it was a mess. It was a mess. Then it turns out that what we thought was true, that there was bombs, there was all this other stuff, and he was eliminating his people, all these things that we believed turned out not to be true. Colin Powell took an L. Everything was blamed on him. Okay, so I'm looking at this situation right here, and I'm thinking, look, you did this 36 years ago. 38 years ago. And do we believe what you're saying? Do we? I don't know. I'm looking at this with a, I don't know. I'm just looking at this whole situation. I did not mean to do that. I'm looking at this whole situation with a side eye. That's all that I'm doing. So let's go back to this article. So here, this is where, back to the same article last year. So there's up to 15,000 Jews who live in Iran. You learn something new every day. They have not been harmed. And during the June 2025 war, there was fear amongst them. And if the confrontation had continued, and especially if they had escalated, the situation for Iranian Jews might get worse. This negative change might not have been initiated by the Iranian regime because it would have made the regime look bad, but some Iranians might have taken the law into their own hands to assault Jews out of the Middle East. And which it did, because over here you had Muslims and Jews fighting out in the street in New York and Chicago. It was a mess to get them to stop, right? There would have been a growing risk that the Iranian regime and its supporters might have attacked Jewish communities. So Israel and the United States could have conducted their airstrikes, adding to its raids with special forces and cyber attacks. Israel also could have continued to assassinate leading Iranian nuclear scientists and the top officials. Yet those efforts require a lot of resources, a lot of time, and there is no guarantee that it could have stopped the Iran from producing nuclear weapons. But you did not shoot at it. That's not what you did. You did everything else but that. But you left it up to the U.S. to do it. Man, I see something crazy coming out of this. Israel sometimes together put the United States already tried many of those methods during the last 2 decades, which only delayed Iran's nuclear program. Israel could have also tried to assist the Iranian opposition to bring the regime change in Iran, which is a complicated task that could excuse me, that would require a long time and might not succeed. Excuse me. However, the not succeed. President Trump suggested the possibility that the regime change in Iran. However, the United States might hesitate here. Excuse me, following a bitter experience trying regime change in Iran neighbors, Iraq and Afghanistan. Ugh, that's gonna be rough. So you have all this going on, and right now I'm just getting stuff coming up as time goes. What is to-date news? Let's see if there's any new news. 3 hours ago. Oh, 5 minutes ago. Wait a minute. CNN. Okay, let me get rid of... Do I want to get rid of that? Okay. Up-to-date information. Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of that. Oh, okay. Okay, let me see this right here. Is this already? Okay. All right, Iran Supreme Leader killed. Okay, we already know this information. But let's see, is there...
You're looking at the aftermath of the strikes that targeted his personal compound there on the right-hand side. But the fighting, that seems to just be beginning. Just a short time ago, Israel launched new strikes on military targets in Iran. And we begin this hour with CNN anchor and chief national security analyst Jim Sciutto on a history-changing moment for the entire Middle East.
It was a broader and more ambitious attack than many had expected. As day broke, airstrikes slammed Tehran Saturday morning, as the U.S. and Israel launched joint strikes which President Trump called Operation Epic Fury.
The United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We're going to
Oh, wow. Okay. So we already know that the Iranian Supreme Leader has been eliminated. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed. So that has been confirmed. About airstrikes, Trump indicated that military operations is aimed to overturn Tehran's government. One strike killed scores of students, oh my goodness, in elementary school, the southern Iran, according to the state media. Unprecedented retaliation. Iran has unleashed strikes on U.S. military bases, Israel and other targets across the Middle East, and rocking densely populated areas and disrupting air travel and oil shipments. The U.S. military has reported no combat-related American casualties. A region on edge, the United Arab Emirates called attacks by the historic moments in the Middle East, saying the world leader has failed to ensure the military, its region stability. So this right here is it's going. That area is going to be totally destabilized. The people are going to be fleeing. And guess where they're going? Guess where the people are going to go? They're going to go to Europe and they're going to go to the United States. However, the United States and Europe are deporting people left and right. This is going to be a complete mess. Now, will the people of the Middle East go into Africa? Will they go into Central and South America? Will they go into Asia? Who knows? But it's going to get really crazy. Okay. Let me see. This came out 18 minutes ago. This right here is still CNN. Multiple Iranians. Matter of fact, let me see. What should I see? Is there anything new? Okay, wait a minute. Something came out on Twitter 13 minutes ago. Let me bring that up. Oh man, news is just popping out all over the place. I'm trying to keep up with it. Okay.
انا لله و انا الیه راجعون. ملت بزرگ ایران، روح بلند پیشوای ملت بزرگ ایران و پیشقراول امت اسلامی حضرت امام خامنه ای با نوشیدن شهد گوارای شهادت در ماه مبارک رمضان به ملکوت اعلا پیوست. شورای عالی امنیت ملی در این زمین
I can't play the music. Let me see. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry. I'm trying to do a couple of things at one time. Right here, an Iranian woman breaks down sobbing, tears of joy for okay. Wow. Okay. Now, one thing about Iran, you have the left and the right, as you do in the United States. You have the capitalists and the communists. If you ever listen to Patrick Bet-David, he talks about this in Iran, how you have those two separate sects, not SECT, just so in Iran. So here it says Iranian woman breaks down sobbing of tears of joy for President Trump for eliminating our Ayatollah Khamenei, and this is the left opposes. Okay. Okay. Let's see what somebody else says. Oh, Lord have mercy. Let me see. Ilhan Omar is okay. Forget about her. Oh wow. Okay. Let's
is up. Our government. I have a message for the American people. Last December, I encouraged you to give this new administration a chance. Time is up. Our government is compromised. Tyrants get promoted and patriots get punished. I am very concerned that we are on the brink of losing our constitutional republic to tyranny. We came extremely close during COVID, and it seems to me like everyone has already forgotten that it even happened. There has been no rectification and absolutely no accountability. The only way that I see we the people taking back our country is a ground-up revolution. We must abandon the America First movement as well as both political parties. I am calling for the God First, Liberty Second movement to to be born in the United States of America. This will take at least 8 to 12 years to accomplish. We must first take municipal seats, then county seats, then state seats, and then we will take back our federal government. If the spirit of patriotism burns within you, you are called to the work. For many are called, but few are chosen. We need those.
Okay. Now this right here is in DC. Oh, that's down there at K Street. That's down here in Georgetown. That is at the, this right here is at the Georgetown Pier. Okay, it just hit me. That right there is the little freeway. Yeah. I remember when Obama did that, when he gave 1.7 billion. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see.
Compliance with a weak and ineffective deal. The contrast in leadership could not be more clear. Barack Obama and Joe Biden sent pallets of cash, American taxpayer dollars, in a failed attempt to buy the Iranian regime's compliance with a weak and ineffective deal.
Obama left office. He sent $1.7 billion in cash to Iran. The money was delivered in actual cash, stacked on pallets and flown into the country. It happened in January 2016 when Obama authorized the transfer of the money to the nation known for sponsoring terrorism. The funds were allegedly part of a long-standing financial obligation stemming from a pre-1979 agreement. Prior to the Iranian Revolution, the United States had committed to supplying Iran with military equipment. However, following the revolution, the transaction was abandoned, leaving Iran to claim reimbursement for the $400 million initially paid. With the accrued interest, this amount spiked to $1.7 billion. The Obama administration decided to resolve the debt. On January 17th of 2016, an aircraft arrived in Iran carrying $400 million in cash loaded onto pallets. The remaining balance of the $1.7 billion was delivered in subsequent shipments.
A CNN reporter found Osama bin Laden, took a television camera crew with him, went into Osama bin Laden's hideout, interviewed him and his top leadership. You see, because the largest intelligence apparatus in the world, with the biggest budget in the history of the world, has been looking for Osama bin Laden for years and years and years, and can't find him.
On May 2nd, 2011, President Obama announced that Navy SEALs had killed Osama bin Laden.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda.
The raid didn't take place in mountains on the Afghan border or in a cave, though. It took place in Abbottabad, one of Pakistan's nicest cities and just a mile from Pakistan's version of West Point. Yet people across Pakistan do not believe bin Laden was ever in Pakistan, let alone killed there. To understand why, we traveled to bin Laden's compound and met Osama's neighbors.
Walaikum salam.
Bin Laden's neighborhood, Bilal Town, was the nicest part. Driving through, we had to keep putting the camera down so we didn't film any military installations or police.
I think this is one of the nicest neighborhoods you've been in all of Pakistan yet. Really? This was it. This is it. So this was exactly where his house was, right in the middle of a really nice neighborhood, less than a mile from the West Point of Pakistan, their military academy. Did they get rid of it because they didn't want it to become an attraction?
Yeah, I think that is one of the reasons, because they did not want it to remain. It's just like a place of, like a shrine, or like a place people come here.
Assalamu alaikum. Kya haal hai? Theek hai? I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Fine.
Walaikum salam. Thank you.
Now that's quite interesting. That is very, very interesting. Let me see. All right. All right. Uh-oh. What does... This is 15 hours. Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Wait. Oh, snap. Okay.
从阿富汗到伊拉克，反观美国，好战成瘾，建国240多年。
What they're saying, but here China says the U.S. is a war addict. Throughout the 240 years, it has been at war. Man, wait, that just messed me up. Okay, the U.S. is a war addict throughout the 240 years history. It has been at war at least all but 16 years. Wow, that is bad. The U.S. and other 800 overseas military bases in over 80 countries and regions, and the U.S. main cause of international disorder, global turbulence, and the regional instability. Whoa. Okay, and this just came out today. Where'd I see it? Today at okay, it might be 5:15 in the morning. I don't know the time difference. Oh man, okay. Wait a minute.
Spirit of our great country.
Okay, I can't have that going. I don't need the problems. Oh man, I think they're called the Blue Angels. I will most definitely say this right now. Welcome to W.A.R. because we're here now, and China already has chimed in, and let me see what he's saying. Doggone it. People keep on putting music. Keep on putting music. Huh. This is interesting. Okay, how safe is that guy feeling? Oh, man. Everybody else is eliminated but Xi Jinping, and then this guy right here, Zhang Zhenjin. I don't know. I'm messing that name up right there. All right. Let's see what else. Oh, this lady was happy that he got eliminated. I'm not for anybody getting eliminated, you know. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, let's see. This is going to be something crazy.
Inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it.
Young black Americans are allegedly released. What? This is... Nah. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with that foolishness. This looks like it's at... Where is this? Oh, shit. Okay, this right here was 16 hours ago. Now, this is what I was waiting to see because I knew this was going to be the opposite. Okay, all right. When I see stuff like this, and I look at where they're at, okay? I look at where they're at, and they're in a Western country. Now, for me, I think it would be more powerful if they were in Palestine doing that and not in the U.S. burning an American flag. When they get done, they're going to hop in their cars, drive up American streets, open up their, their apartments or flats and eat food from America. It's a little crazy for me. Just crazy. That's it. It just makes very little to no sense to me. All right, all this stuff right here. Oh no. Oh my goodness, that is awful. Oh man, that is so sad. Oh no, Charleston White. Okay, let me brace myself because he's going to say something crazy. Maybe not. Charleston White says that Israel is using America to fight Iran and warns America about China and Russia. Now, the U.S. already knows about China and Russia, knowing that if anything happens to Iran, it's going to make China and Russia say, hey, wait a minute, right?
All the way back to food. But America don't know China sitting back waiting. Russia is saying, we got them, y'all. Now they done took on another fight. I'm letting you niggas have the raw, unadulterated truth because I see this is a group of black people don't know nothing about North Korea. They don't know that when President Trump was in power, that they killed a high-ranking motherfucking general in the Iran army over there in Saudi Arabia. They did a drone strike and it was an unfair attack. Let me bag it up again. Y'all must forgot. When President Trump was in power, they killed a high-ranking Iranian general of the army. He was a bad motherfucker that they killed. And the people loved him because he come from the bottom. And he was the army general. He was a bad, and they killed him with Israeli intelligence given to the white man with an unfair drone attack. It was.
Now, his name, I can't remember his name right off the back, but he was bringing peace between all the different countries of Pakistan, Iran, and some other countries, bringing peace to that region. And he was brokering a deal, and all of a sudden, he's gone. I remember that. Let me see, what does... Okay, Nick Fuentes. I gotta do a stream on him. Now, where is this? Okay, it's at the White House. Let's see.
It's becoming a safety hazard. Undocumented, unafraid. Undocumented, unafraid. Undocumented, unafraid. Undocumented, unafraid. The people united will never be defeated. The people united.
Bitch, we'll do this shit again. Iran, we ain't scared of you. No cap. Where the fuck do y'all?
Oh, Lord. Okay, wait a minute. This is President Trump. That was 8 hours ago. All right, so we're at war. We are at war. Man, I don't know. This is crazy. This is really, really crazy. War, I'm not with war. Not at all, but but I will be, since this is going on, I'll be going around the city, and I'll be going around DC to see what I can see, and I'll, upload. I don't know if I'm going to live stream. I don't know. I'll figure that out when I get down there. But look, I want to thank you. Please like, subscribe, help me out. I'm trying to boost my numbers, help me out here. But please look out. I'm going to see what's going on down at the Navy Yard, Bowling Air Force Base. I'm going to see the traction on the Potomac River. Normally, if I see something, I know things are going to get really, really crazy depending on the level of, how can I say, what's going on the water between the Pentagon, Bowling Air Force Base, and Navy Yard. And then I'll let you know. But on that note, I want to thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Please put something down in the comment section. Please do so. On that note,